And if you're just
Yes.
hoping away on a wing and a prayer that one of your pieces of content or something you do is going to go viral, that's not a strategy, and you're not going to grow.
This is the Bald Dads Business Club, a podcast for small business owners with Casey Lambert and me, Desi Mayner. We are grounded in strong values, faith, and a common sense approach to leadership, marketing, and we're going to have some conversations that reflect a little and also get real tactical with how to build your team, how to build your business, and still make it to your kids' ball games. Less hair, more wisdom. Casey, what's up, man?
How's it going, Des?
I don't know, man. That intro was pretty fresh. I'm
That was
feeling good
in
about that intro, man.
the thing is, you are just getting more fresher as the time goes on.
Right?
Ain't
The
nobody
message is
dope
getting
as
more and
me.
more
I'm
clear,
just
people. You better
yeah.
watch out for the bald dads.
But
I tell you
the
what,
cool.
tell me something good, Casey.
Oh, okay, something good. This is gonna like
Oh,
seem a little bit oddball, but I've really been enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs this year.
all right.
Like a lot of people
Very
don't know,
interesting.
big hockey guy here. And if you haven't
Yeah.
heard my talk on the art of the celly, you can go
Yeah.
to the Wax Way on Spotify and listen to that talk. Really,
The
really
art
cool,
of the
riveting
seller.
stuff.
You got to get it down. You
For
want to
sure,
see a
man.
big man do a TD dance. That's what you want
That's
to see.
yeah, big
You
man.
know it, man.
Listen. I'll never forget. This is how important it is to celebrate. So, Green Bay Packers defensive tackle 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗟𝗓, right? And we're
Yeah.
Michiganders, so we're Lions fans. We're taught to hate the Packers, and I still very much hate the Packers' dad. Okay, my dad's a Packers fan, but I still remember the big man picking up a fumble, going into the end zone, putting his hands on his hips, and just shaking them around. And you know what? This is how powerful that celebration was. At the time, State Farm was endorsing Aaron Rodgers. So he had the championship
Yeah.
belt celebration, the
Yeah.
discount double check, if you will. And they
Yeah.
included Raji on the commercial and had his own jingle and everything. Like,
That's
show me
awesome.
what you got, Raji. All because the big man touchdown dance. So, like,
No doubt.
and nobody celebrates better than hockey players. Like,
So
I'll
true,
put my
man.
sword in the stone on that one. And
Yeah.
like, it's cool. Stanley Cup playoffs is by far, in my mind, the best professional sports playoffs that there are. I was rooting for the Buffalo Sabres this year. They lost in 7 to the Canadiens, but good series nonetheless. And I'm excited for the rest of the Cup playoffs. What about you, man? What's good?
Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna throw it in there too, and I'm gonna say the NCAA girls softball tourney
Oh,
is it's like just kicking off. We're in super regionals this weekend. And it's just some good softball, man. Like the games are quick, it's fast paced. All they're throwing all their aces, and I mean, I like it better than baseball, to be honest with you. Like, and watching like Patty Gasow coach and like Carolyn Pickens pitch, and she's setting literal records like every time out on the mound. It's just fun. We're watching it with my daughters. You know, my wife, she played in college too and was a pitcher. It's just fun. It's like a family event. We're like, oh, what time so and so on, and like it's cool because they stack them all in the weekend, so it's
mm-hmm.
almost like March Madness but softball.
I love that,
And
dude.
so we've been having fun with that. It's been a good time,
Dude. And speaking of women's sports, shout out to the PWHL. Just had an expansion team in Detroit with
I saw that.
and hired their new general manager, the first ever female to play a male professional sport, former Tampa Bay Lightning goaltender Manon Rayon.
Boom.
So
Yeah,
no,
man.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I know you're a girl dad, and you know your girls play
Yeah.
softball and everything, man. But it's cool to see those types of women's sporting events getting the recognition they deserve, because
For
I'm with
sure,
you.
man.
Softball is played on a smaller diamond. It's
Yep.
faster.
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
in more ways more violent. Like softball's the bop, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you what, man, let's get into it. We teased it last time. What actually
Mhm.
makes a small business grow, man. We're looking
Yes.
at a straight up, no BS conversation about what is actually going to drive your growth, right? The
Mm-hmm.
growth of you as a leader, the growth of your team, the growth of your bottom line, the growth of your marketing, your sales, all of the above, man. Like, we want you to understand your identity and your growth as a leader, as a business owner, as a builder, right? And the overall look at things so that we can get tactical today, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're honing in on. And I mean, I'll just kick it right off by saying this, man. Like, growth starts with leadership, right? It's not the hack, it's not the tip, the trick. It starts with your leadership. Your business will not grow until you grow as a leader. It's just point blank. It's clear as can be. Like, you can't say it any bolder, any more intensely. There's just a truth bomb, man. And
Mm-hmm.
I know this because it's like, I learned it from myself. Knowing that, like, you have to get a new level of awareness. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Unconscious incompetence. Like, you first need to go from there to, I now know what I don't know, and it's leadership is what I don't know good enough when it comes to owning a business, not just being the employee in the business and being stuck, like we talked about last episode. So if you're stuck and you're feeling this, make sure you go check out episode 3 about being stuck and how to get out of it. Right. So it's like a healthy business grows stronger when you provide the direction, you get your team aligned with that direction, you set good expectations, and you hold people accountable. How do you do that? By becoming a better leader. You have to
Yeah.
become the leader of your business, not just the employee in it. So start studying, start listening, start taking notes. Understand, ask yourself this question: how am I leading this company?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just how am I building it, how am I leading it? Right? I think that this is so important because you'll start to look at, I got people who are looking at me every day. What am I doing to grow them? Right? Because you grow them, that grows the business. What am I doing to grow me? Do I have time set aside to actually grow me? To get coaching, mentorship, guidance, right? Counseling, all of the above is probably needed if you're trying to actually grow a business, right?
Well, I think the two greatest leaders in the history of the world, my opinion, I'm sure a lot of people share it, but Jesus Christ, who led by example, and Marcus Aurelius, the first Roman Empire, who also led by example. They also both led by servitude, Desi. And the two greatest books that I've ever read, of course, the Bible and Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, both show this in perfect example. And it's kind of cool because it lends itself to the marketing message as well. I always
It
tell
does.
people, hey, what do you actually do as a marketer? And I say, I tell stories. I tell other people's stories. I tell the stories of our businesses. I tell the story of the people who are employed at the business, of people who are clients and customers of the business. And all of that comes from the fact that we are built to serve others. Off camera, Desi and I were talking about, the business I'm with right now is currently growing very fast, and I need to add another person in my department. And he kind of joked. He was like, oh, I bet you, at least 1/3 of your applicants were like wannabe influencer moms. And I joked because I actually was hit up by a couple of influencers. And it kind of brings me to, my number one point for growth is too many people get caught up in like the hope of virality in things. You hear people and internet gurus talk about it all the time of, oh, all you need is for one post to go viral and you'll be great. But holding out that hope is not a strategy. You need an
Right.
actual true system to generate more business for your company. And a lot of that comes with, we talked about it last episode, having the message in place, allowing people to know why they should actually care about you, why they should use you, and why they should trust you. But then you have to give them a nexus point in which to convert on that business. So one of the simplest ways that I see small businesses doing it is contact forms on their website. But
Yeah.
even then, that's waiting for them to come to you.
Right.
You know, you have to be able to message outbound in order to gain business inbound. And if you're just
Yes.
hoping away on a wing and a prayer that one of your pieces of content or something you do is going to go viral, that's not a strategy, and you're not going to grow, right? Leads cannot be random. Just like getting your people to believe you and trust you on your own team is not going to be random. You have to lead the horse to water, right? You have to pull the Moses, right, and lead your people out of Egypt.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's really the only way to do it. And the best way to do it is by building the systems in which they can easily traverse their way to your business. So we talked about, like I said, a good website, a good message, and content that should all be consistent to support that message. Because when people see consistency, they start to trust. And when they start to trust and use, they then become loyal. In that whole carousel of revenue that we talked about in the last episode doesn't exist anymore, because at that point you're only taking the business that you can support, you're only taking the business that you want, and you can actually start to do the really cool small business thing and refuse business from sectors that you don't want to be involved in.
Yeah, and that's
so that then supports your personal mission.
Yeah, and and all of it comes back to your leadership. You have to lead in order to do those things, because that's you doing my favorite three things, right? Making decisions, solving problems, getting shit done, right? The root, I'll even say it like this, at the root of all of our problems, right? And I say our because every one of us included, business, home, all of the above, is bad leadership. And for a long time, for a short time, for a season, for a moment, whatever, fill in the blank. At the root of all of our problems is bad leadership. Here's the good news, is that we get the opportunity, because we're not about to be the victim of that. We're going to take absolute accountability, right? And we're going to say, this is my fault. And because it's my fault, I'm going to do X, Y, Z to make it better, right? That's the key, is like, I was bad and now I know it. Here's what I'm going to do better right now, tomorrow, moving forward with the team, with my family, with all of the above. And it hits, man. And that'll lead you to all of these tactics. But that's what we mean when we say, it has to do with your leadership. That's how do you grow your company, right? I always look at it like this, Casey. There's like four big realms. So you got sports, you got military, you got business, you got family. If there's another one, there's faith. It's faith, right? And in this podcast, we talk about that. And like within those five realms, right? The solution to all of the obstacles, to overcoming them, and the solution to grasping at all of those opportunities and taking advantage of them is leadership. The good news is that it's a skill. I always make the joke like, hey, all leaders are born. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But it's nothing but a skill. Now, it's a macro skill. It's a big old freaking skill, man. You know, I mean, it is bigger than the domes on our heads. A little bald dad joke. But it is a skill, and it combines lots of little micro skills. But at the end of the day, man, like, this is just you, the business owner, the business leader, the team leader, trying to get a group of people to work together, bonus points if they're happily working together, to accomplish a common goal, right? Like, and at the end of the day, that is the clarity that we're trying to bring. Right? I was getting the feeling like, that my leadership conversation was getting a little mystical, a little mythical. I wanted to bring it back to that tactical piece there. So I went on a little rant there, but I felt like we needed that, because I wanted to bring that operational leadership to our conversation here tonight to help them grow their business.
Well, it's ironic that you said that, because the other day, my Courtney, and if you know Desi and I, both of our wives are named Courtney.
Yep.
So we have to say my Courtney. She got on me about just like saying sorry too much. And she's like, why are you saying sorry? Like, none of this is your responsibility. And I said, babe, you got to understand like a fundamental piece of my life. I read a book called Ultimate Ownership once.
Yeah.
And because of the way that operational leadership is, you have to look at absolutely everything that you're doing in your business, in your family, in your life, as ultimately coming down to you. And like that's a tough conversation to have with people sometimes, because our human nature is just sometimes to complain and sometimes to blame it on something or someone else, or to, woe is me, and this thing is causing. But at the end of the day, like, it does all come down to you in one way, shape, or form. Did you prepare for this enough? Are you ready to? I always say this to people, like, you want to work with me, but are your systems able to handle what we're about to throw at them? Or are we going to be panic stricken trying to handle all this new business and do the worst thing possible, hurt our reputation?
Right.
So it really is like that leadership perspective. And I started this episode talking about the two greatest leaders in history, which were Jesus Christ and Marcus Aurelius. And that's really what they were built upon. So let's take the example right there as leaders. Understand that our operational systems need to be intact before we ever start to think about growth. And that all comes down to who?
Comes down to you as a leader, right? The business owner as a
Exactly.
leader. You talk about that. You talk about that almost like this the simplicity, and I'll say it like simple but not easy, right? And so let's talk about the execution of that, right? Because I think that a simple execution model, framework, formula, fill in the blank, right? Process, playbook, it's a true separator, man. It really is. And like we've seen, both of us, marketing, leadership, operations, all the above, man. Plenty of owners that they know what to do, right? But very few of them have even written it down, let alone taught someone else from the written down thing and then implemented it consistently, right? That's the key, man. It does not look. I have saved, no joke. And I'm proud to say I've saved businesses because of a one-page checklist. Point blank, man. And all I did was pin the owner like a freaking piece of jello to a wall and said, "Tell me all the things." And sat there and typed on the typeboard until they were all on the things. And they said, "Is this it?" Yes. Cool. I will go now downstairs and literally give it to all the teams and be like, "This is from the owner. Do it now. Use this all the time," and save the business.
Dude, it's Desi and his whiteboard, man.
Yeah, man. It's like, get the whiteboard out.
And I will say this, I felt a little called out because Desi has gotten me on the train of actually writing playbooks.
Boom, baby.
And in the marketing world, like you pivot so quickly sometimes. Like, yeah, you have your base level strategy on how to do things, and you always stay consistent with it, because good marketing typically takes 3 to 8 months to take root. But what happens in the short term when you have to pivot, you have to be flexible. And if you're going to expect your team to follow that flexibility and that thing that you just stayed up till 11 p.m. writing, you better bet your ass that you put a playbook to it as well. Yeah, because otherwise they're going to bombard you with questions. And if you can't instantly answer that question for them, then your program's not working, or worse, you can't get to those questions because you're pulled in 14 different directions. And all you have to say is reference the playbook, and they get it. It's then going to work. So I love that this is taken kind of an operational leadership turn on this episode, because so many people preach it, but so few people understand it.
Yeah, and it's for all the pieces, right? It's for the marketing, it's for the leadership, it's for the operations. But like, as you're talking marketing and then I'm talking sales, like what do we have now? We have a patient, we have a client, we have a customer, we have fill in the blank of whatever you call them for your business, right? A homeowner, all the above, right? That needs something done, right? Like most of the stuff that we work with is service business.
Mhm.
So now you have to fulfill the order, the order, quote unquote, in some way, shape, or form. So you need a good way, a simple way that isn't you to execute. So
Mhm.
it's like Bob the business owner can't be the one always executing, otherwise you're never going to grow, right? Obviously. So you need that simple execution method, channel, process, and it needs to be written down, it needs to be trained on, and not trained until we get it right, but trained until we can't get it wrong, like Coach Saban used to say all the time. That clarity, right, is going to be harder and harder to provide to your team the more and more you grow. Like just by adding humans, whether it be, customers, clients, patients, homeowners, whoever, and also team members, creates exponential complexity.
Mhm.
It's insane. It now becomes your job as the owner trying to grow the business to create clarity and simplicity within that chaos.
I love that. I think are you familiar with like 5S and Kaizen?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody out there listening, and you may not understand this audience because some of you might not have ever worked in warehousing and shipping and things like that. But Kaizen and 5S are Japanese styles of running warehouses and businesses. And if there's one thing we know about the Japanese, and we can literally date this back to the late 1800s, it is that they are recognized for being extremely organized and efficient. Right? Look at how they organized their navies pre-World War II. It, it it's it's mind blowing. But here's what 5S and Kaizen does. It's exactly what you said, Desi. It's clarity without question. All right. If you ever walk into a warehouse and you see yellow lines painted on the ground, and you see all the way from one end of the warehouse to the other because nothing is blocked off, that's because those yellow lines are painted there so people know exactly where to walk. Those yellow lines are painted there so they know where a forklift might be coming through. It's
Yeah.
efficiency, it's safety. And at every single station, they have a board, and that board tells you exactly what your crew is doing that day. It tells you who is on the crew that day. It tells you for the past week if you've hit quotas, if you've missed quotas, if you're right on track for it. They call those the Gemba boards. It's Japanese for meeting place. So
Yeah.
operational systems like that, I always say to people, and it's funny to take it outside of warehousing and shipping and put it into people's heads and explain
100%.
why we should be using 5S and Kaizen type organization in our businesses, no matter what type of business that they are. I use them in marketing strategies. I want it to be
Yeah.
extremely simple to understand, because what do people trust, Desi? They trust stuff that
Simplicity.
they can understand, right? They
Yes.
trust the simplicity. So when you're talking about how are you putting your message out to the world in order to grow, just become more simple. There was a period relatively recently, in as the design side of me hated this, but I understood why they did it. Um,
Mhm.
I called it the era of blanding, right? You have branding
Yeah.
and then you have blanding. So a lot of these big corporations were taking this to the nth degree and simplifying their look. And I think a lot of people might remember the Cracker Barrel debacle,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I
They
remember that.
literally took all of the random shit out of their restaurants, painted the walls freaking white, simplified the logo to just be like the name inside of a crest, and took everything else personality wise away. I'm here to caution you that although you should be simple, although you should be clear, never take your personality out of it either.
Yeah. Don't be vanilla. Right. I think that's incredibly important. Another way that you're talking, I love the Gemba boards. Like, oh man, I'm using that. I forgot about that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a great place. But also role clarity. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably somewhere, if you're listening, watching, whatever, you're probably a business owner, you're somewhere, you got 3 people, you got 7 people, whatever, somewhere in there. You're right at that point where people are probably wondering, is this my job? Is that their job? Is the owner going to do that? I feel like I should do that. And it becomes one of those gray areas and here's what happens when you enter that realm is that it's all gray area and no one really knows. So things just kind of get missed or they get double and triple done. All right. So it's a simple role clarity guide, of like, this is the title of your role. And like, also don't over title anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do that too soon.
Or title for the sake of title.
Yeah, like, and you can be creative with it. Just like, don't be like, you're the director of operations and you have a 3-person company, right? Like, I was just walking. I'm like, what do you guys want to call me? I don't really care, because it's not about the title or position anyway. But the role clarity guide, right? It's a simple title. It's the key result areas, or I like to call them like the primary outcome areas, like 3 to 5 of them. Like, what are the big ones? And like simple 1-pager stuff. And it says like, this is what winning looks like. And then this is what it's going to take to win. And it's like bullet points, right? Just that alone, right? And then here's what I do with that. I use that and I use a traffic light evaluation. Red, yellow, green, man. Like, it's that simple. So the role clarity guide and a traffic light eval, red, yellow, green. Here's what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing, expectations. Red, yellow, green. Here's your measurement. And now we say, let's move the reds and the yellows to greens. There's your accountability, right? And that's the simplest form, of growth that you can grow your people with. Like, your people are going to determine your ceiling, but who grows your people? You do, right? So it's like, it's almost like a cliche because like, you grow your people grow your business, right? But your people are what are going to be your ceiling, but those people come from your leadership, right? So if your team is weak, if they're confused, if they're disengaged, your growth is definitely going to stall, but that's not their fault. That's yours. The fun part is that you now get to do something with it. Like the 𝗥𝗲𝗱𝗆 meeting place and the board with a simple role clarity guide that you can freaking hand write on a notepad and hand out and take a snapshot over your phone and share it. Have 𝗕𝗢𝗄 make it cleaner. Like, this is a 10-minute thing, guys. With AI and technology now, this doesn't take long. And I'm telling you right now, I do it all the time for businesses. Like, it's crazy what it provides for people, right? I mean, well, Casey, you just did it. We were talking about filling this department.
Yeah, and you got to, like, I'm glad you brought up the role clarity thing because we are prone to scope creep so much in small businesses because we wear so many hats. And it's okay as an owner to understand that, yes, the ultimate ownership thing is I do wear every hat and everything is my responsibility. But the person you hired, 2 months ago doesn't share that same sentiment. Right. So I liken it to this. Say what you want about our government in the United States being what it is now, but our founding fathers built in a system of checks and balances in separation of power. Yeah. They did that so it was clear which department was working, right? And let's see, how fast did America grow?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, the largest growth out of any republic in the history of civilization.
Yeah, call that a business.
So I think they at least at the onset had it right, and a lot of that was just the very clear roles of what government meant to people.
Yeah,
and
it's
look
so crazy because I always like to bring up because you're making me think like military and sports, and then government, and you're like, hold on. Like, no one's looking around in a war going, what do you do? I don't know. What do you do? Like, they're like, who's the CO, right? In football, like, I'm like, do I snap the ball or does the quarterback snap the ball? Like, there's such clarity
You're the center, Desi.
Right? And I'm like, and I always like to explain this. And I'm like, well, imagine Shaquille O'Neal playing point guard. Like, what? But in business, we do that all the time. That happens all day, every day. Right? I'm like, hold on, are you sales, marketing, leadership, operations? What? And you're like, oh, because what the thing that this hit me hard, dude. The Gallup survey from 2025, the number one question that the workplace, the frontline employees have, you know what it is?
What's that?
Is am I good at what I do and how do I know? Like, it's like, am I doing a good job? and they don't know, right? The fact that we haven't set things up in America for them to self-evaluate, one, and then also get a manager leader evaluation too, to just answer the question, am I doing a good job? They want to know that they're valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, right? So it not only helps your operations and grow your business,
Mm-hmm.
right? It really helps your people feel better, which are
Right.
then going to help grow your business more.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, man, because believe it or not, we didn't have a 5th episode topic planned, but I'm going to name it right now. So next week, when you guys are listening to us, we're going to talk about evaluation. We're going to talk about evaluation of not only how your business is doing, not only how your people are performing, but also evaluating yourself as a leader, evaluating your business as an entity in the marketplace. Because believe it or not, that analysis of yourself, of your people, and of your actual body of work is going to give you the best competitive advantage that you are ever going to receive. So you want to talk about growth and what actually makes a small business grow? Well, we're going to talk about self-auditing next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
we're going to dig into that traffic light, self-evaluation, boss evaluation, all the evaluations. We're going to evaluate the evaluations. And we're going to teach you what to do with them, how to use them, how to help them grow your business. Casey, that was an absolute truth bomb, man. We went down some amazing rabbit holes. At the end of the day, take one of these things, literally one of them, and take action on them. I mean, honestly, man, I think that Casey and I both, right, and I'm just speaking from my own heart and my own observations and my own experiences. Like, one of the reasons I've been blessed enough to even get to this point in my life is because I was part of the 1 to 3% of people who would listen to this type of podcast and then actually do something with it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's the biggest thing, man.
Be part of that. Be part of that, 1, 3, 5% that actually is like, you know what, I'm going to do this role clarity thing. I don't know if I'll get it right. It's like, I just do something and it'll get better. Like, I can tell you right now, take some intentional action around one of the things that we're talking about, and your business will grow. You will grow. Yeah. Your marketing will grow. You'll make more money. Your team will be happier, all of the above, just because you're making decisions, solving problems, and getting shit done.
That's right. I love that 3. And, I'll close it out by saying this. It's not a sales pitch. When Desi's talking about that 1 to 3% of people, guys, go to MaynerLeadership.com. Check out the free resources on there, because everything that we've talked about in the past 2 episodes, Desi has free guides and free information on. Take a look at it. Take some of those surveys, do it in preparation for what we're talking about next week, because that self-evaluation really is the only thing that's going to help you grow beyond what you possibly think you can. And that right there is some bald dad wisdom. So I've been Casey. That's been Desi. You've been listening to the Bald Dads Business Club. Dom, roll the music. We out of here.
Be powerful.